you guys, this is Charity from Scrap Fair Knits. I would like to welcome all new viewers and say thank you so much for coming back. To all returning viewers, this is my crafty corner of the interwebs, and I am coming to you from Northern Virginia. Alexandria, Virginia is where I currently live. I'm about 10 minutes of a drive from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and I'm so excited to spend some time with you today. Today is Friday, June the 8th. I'm about a week late from my regular schedule because last week was just the dreariest of dreary rainy weeks, and it was so dark on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I just couldn't stomach doing a podcast and trying to sort out a better lighting situation. I am wearing my version of the Featherweight cardigan for you today. I do not have a project page on Ravelry because the sweater was started by a friend of mine and she got tired of knitting it and mailed it to me, and I finished it. So it's got short sleeves, and if it's okay, it does have a tendency to kind of fall off my shoulders, so I still wear it all the time because it's my only current finished garment and I do love it. I think it's beautiful. It's a really nice Mystery Madeline Tosh singles color. It doesn't do a terrible amount of pilling, and I don't know if that's my gauge or just this is pretty good yarn, so I like it. I have, if you've been here before, you might notice I have a new really messy summer haircut, and right now it's been, I got it right after my last podcast, so it's been a couple of weeks and it's having an awkward day, and I'm just letting it be awkward because if you actually see me in person, this is probably more what I'll actually look like, so I decided to go with it. I had a whole bunch of finished objects last time, or several. I don't this time, which is sad, but I have done a bit of knitting on a few things. It is Stash Dash, and one of my goals for Stash Dash was I considered ripping back a big portion of my water lily, which I had finished in May, but I was very unhappy with how I modified the neckline, and I didn't knit it to directions and then decide to modify it. I modified it based on reading other people's comments, and while part of my modifications I will do again, I really didn't knit the v-neck at a correct depth, and it was kind of right up here on my neck even after blocking, so I have frogged back quite a bit, and I've picked up stitches, and so one of my goals for this next week is to recomplete my water lily. This is the water lily from Pom Pom Quarterly, several issues back. I will put up show notes for this episode in the Ravelry group, and you can find out which pattern it is because it's kind of difficult to find it on Ravelry. It took me a little while. Like, I knew the sweater I wanted to knit, but it took quite a bit of hunting. And this is the Elegance colorway from Lolo Did It, and this is the Lil Darlin colorway. It's in the blues. I don't know. Yeah, the color reads better back here. It's kind of a purpley blue, and I just love this Lil Darlin colorway. And the hem is done. It isn't a sweater that's calling for two colors. I just wanted to do it in two colors. And actually, in the beginning, this was a Tanya, and then I had an issue with my knitting. For some reason I had started twisting all my purl stitches, and so when I separated for the sleeves it looked terrible, and so I just decided to rip it out and not redo a Tanya but do a water lily out of it. And so my goal for this next 7-day period is to finish this, and I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, so I might do a podcast in a week this time and get back on my regular schedule. It's in a project bag by an unknown designer because it doesn't have a tag on it, and it was gifted to me. It actually came with the yarn in it and the needles and everything for the sweater. My friend Lauren is so precious. She just asked me if she could send me a sweater to finish, if I would enjoy finishing it, and she literally sent me the project bag of the stitch markers that she had on it, and everything just came. And I do like this project bag. It's really pretty. But it was really funny. I asked her if she knew where it came from. She's like, no, I've had it forever and it doesn't have a label on it. So it came from Etsy somewhere. This is why you should always mark your bags. Because I might have purchased another, I mean, maybe this maker's still making and I have purchased one from her, but I'll never know. I did a whole lot of work this week. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm Scrap Fair on Instagram and Ravelry. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen I have this project bag that I won from Nimruz, who is Pandia's Jewels online, and she sells beautiful yarn too. But I won this project bag with some yarn in it from Pandia's Jewels a while back. And I have my Desert Vista Dye Works sock, which I frogged. I had almost a complete sock knit. I was racing down the foot and I was almost to the toe, and it was the Crosswalker pattern. I was knitting it on size 1s. I had started it. I had gotten about yay far in the pattern, and I tried to try it on, and I realized my normal 64 stitch count sock was not going over my heel. And I knew when I read the pattern it recommended starting with 80 stitches or going up there from there in increments of 8. And I thought that was ridiculous, but I was like, okay, so I frogged it back, and then I cast on more stitches just under my 1x1 twisted rib, which was my preferred cuff, because when I cast on the cuff I didn't know if I was going to knit a pattern sock or not. And then I increased to 80 stitches, and I got almost the entire sock knit. I did my first eye of Partridge Heel, which was beautiful, and I loved it. And then right before I was getting maybe a couple of inches from the toe, I was like, I'm going to try it on and see how many more stripes I need to do before the toe. And I kind of want to cry right now talking about it, but I could not get the sock over my foot. Now, I have basically square feet. They're short and they're wide, and I wear a size 8 or an 8.5, depending on how the shoe is made in US shoe sizes, and I just couldn't force the sock on my foot. So I gave up. I just wound the yarn. Like, the other end that I started with is actually on the inside of this. And I was like, let me just start from the other end, and I'll cast on, and I'll start casting on stitches to see. I got this far. I have 92 stitches, and I can get this over my heel, but I went up a needle size as well, and I don't like how it's knitting up on the larger needle size. I don't want to have to cast on even more stitches. So I think I'm going to frog this and pick another pattern, but sadly it's going to be in timeout for probably until tomorrow at least, because yesterday, you know, I wound up restarting this twice to kind of test different needle sizes and like just barely starting the pattern to see what I could get over my foot, and I just can't stop. I love the yarn. Like, I love this Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. The color is The Help, based on the book The Help, which I have both seen the movie and read the book, and I absolutely love it. It's a 3-stripe. It's very soft colors for me to pick, but I've tried to pay more attention to the pictures. I follow the hashtag. I think following hashtags is the best thing Instagram has come out with, but I follow the hashtags for the 4th annual sock club with Desert Vista Dye Works. And all the pictures of the yarns I really like are not things I was drawn to when I was at the shop. So the last time I made a purchase, it really helped me select things that I knew I already really liked when they were knit up. So if you're having trouble deciding on things, try following the hashtags. I got something really exciting in the mail. Don't know if you remember. Well, if you're new, you won't remember because you haven't seen it. But I had purchased the small set of DPNs from the Likey company, and I broke one of my size 1 2.25 millimeter DPNs, and I looked and looked online to be able to find another set because I really enjoy using 5 needles better than 4 to knit socks, but I couldn't find them for sale anywhere. So I finally just wrote the company, and I was like, look, I broke the needle. I don't know how. Like, it was on the couch. I might have sat on it. I didn't feel it break. I don't know. But it was on the couch, and it was broken in my project. And I got this really nice letter from the company, they told me that the individual needle sets would not be for sale until September of this year. But they sent me, there's a size missing, the 2.5s are missing, but I got a new set of 2.5s as well. They wrote me a letter that says, "Hello, fellow knitter and fiber enthusiast. We are sorry that you have encountered issues with your Lykke, I know it's Luca, sorry, Luca Driftwood double pointed needle set. We have discovered, due in part to your submission, that the metal center has created weakness in the smaller sizes." So all of the smallest sizes had weakness problems created by the metal center. And so they removed the metal piece, and it says that this design change has greatly strengthened them. So they replaced all 4 of the smallest needle sizes for me, even though I haven't had trouble with the others. Shout out to their awesome customer service. Thanks, Luca. It actually came from, they're a foreign company, so I guess knittingfever.com is their American representatives. Anyway, that's technically where my stuff came from, but it got shipped very fast after I wrote the letter asking, you know, where can I buy them? And basically they're like, you can't buy them yet, but we'll take care of you. They took care of me. It was amazing. I highly recommend their company. Showing you what I was knitting. I've also been doing a lot of work on my skinny scarf that I just made up. This is the That's Not Even a Word colorway by Fiber Nymph Dye Works in her Traveler base, which is a sport weight base. I'm knitting this on size 3 9-inch circular needles. These are Xiaogu 9-inch circs that I actually got when I mistakenly ordered the wrong size from some Amazon company, and rather than just returning them, I was like, oh, I can use them for something. But this has been my, I don't have to have a plain vanilla sock on the needles because I have the skinny scarf that I want to get super long, and I'm almost at the end of the ball. I have a couple more. My plan is to do after this, so I'm on this color repeat, is to go 1 more full repeat and then knit to here. And then I went to the Frederick, Maryland Fiber Festival over the weekend, and I got this skein, which is, it's kind of in the middle, but I think it'll look good. It is the Peacock Blue. It's a semi-solid Traveler base also, so it's the same base, and I think it'll look good as the rest of the scarf, because she didn't have any of these in stock, and it's been a while since I started this. This has kind of been a long ongoing, as I need something just plain stockinette to knit. This is a skein that has 328 yards, which is what this skein had. Let me put her tag is right side up. So that's the tag for you, Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And she does have an online shop. She's been doing a lot of shows lately, so if there's not what you're looking for in her shop, you can message her or wait for her to do she's about to have a break in her shows, I think. So she was at Needles Up in May, and she'll be at Needles Up in Rhinebeck, so if you're going, you'll get to see her there. I think this is so cute. I'm actually knitting this for a friend of mine who's a super big Scrabble enthusiast, and I have this colorway in a different base, in a sock weight base, in her bounce base, that I'm going to do, well, A, a pair of socks, but B, I'm going to make tassels or pom-poms. I haven't decided for the ends of this. And this project is actually inspired by a project that Lolo Did It did last year, close to Christmas. Lauren of Lolo Did It on her podcast. She just knit a tube on her circular sock machine and put pom-poms on the end and gave it to her mom for Christmas, and I loved it. So that inspired this project, and that's been living in my, I do know where this bag came from, my Star Knits Harry Potter bag with secret messenger owls inside, and it's got a yummy delicious lavender sachet and a vibrant peacock fabric. well, not vibrant, but it's very pretty. And this is Star Knits. She has a website, and she does a lot of shows near me. She's out of Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure. She's kind of amazing, and she's super nice, you guys. I want to be her BFF, because she's just a couple hours away. And I don't have a lot of knitty BFFs that I get to see in person. Anyway, okay, stop talking. Well, I mean, don't stop talking, but stop rambling. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. I just missed 1 week, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna put the ball in there. I also got to check out, a new yarn shop because it was so rainy in our area. We decided to go on a little trip. We went to visit this really cool place called Harper's Ferry, and if you're a Civil War buff, then you'll know about Harper's Ferry because it's one of the major starting points. I'm really sorry, you guys. I'm not a super Civil War buff. But anyway, it's one of the major starting, I don't want to say skirmish, but battle places in the American Civil War. But it's a beautiful national park, and there's tons of old buildings from the town there, and it's full of lovely shops, and you can actually walk part of the Appalachian Trail and walk across this bridge, which was super scary to me because I'm terrified of heights. But we walked the Appalachian Trail across this it's not like a little dinky bridge, but it's a bridge, and it's right over this the rivers were way up because we've had so much rain lately, and it was a little scary. But we walked across the bridge from it was in West Virginia, and we walked over to Maryland. Yep, we did. So that was fun, my husband and I, and we had stopped at this little place. And I saw a brochure for this yarn shop, which when we went outside, my husband was like, by the way, we're going to go to Charlestown after this, but there's a yarn shop nearby. He'd already looked up what kind of winner did I marry? Anyway, so it was a place called Yarnability, and I got to meet the owner, whose name is Karen, and I got to meet her daughter, who is adorable, and I bought some stuff there. So I wanted to pick out some local yarn. So this is Appalachia Fibers, and I got the BFL nylon base. It's superwash, 400 yards to 100 grams. I just realized this colorway does not have a name. I bought it because it was Hufflepuff colors. So it's gold sprinkled, and actually that looks like not just black, it looks like it has some burgundy. So it actually, I don't know, I love it. I think it's beautiful. Sorry. My plan was to make some Hufflepuff socks, and she had in stock some of the Regia Cotton Tutti Frutti. So I bought 2 skeins. This is the dragon fruit skein, and I literally cast on a cuff and then stopped. And then this is, I'm going to say it's the strawberry skein. I have knit this Regia cotton yarn before, and I remember that before the socks that I knit for my husband were over, my fingers were hurting, but I didn't have any socks out of it, and he really likes it, so I got some. And I also got one of those wrist rulers in gray, and it is downstairs, and so sorry, you'll just have to see that later. I told you I went to the Fiber Festival as well. This is, you know, when you're somewhere and it starts raining and you can go somewhere else where it may or may not be raining, that's what I decided to do last weekend. Also, while I was at the Fiber Festival, I picked up some of Fiber Nymph Dye Works' brand new floof base. It's her mohair base. It is 72% kid mohair and 28% silk. There's 459 yards of this, and this is the Wisp colorway, which I thought is just really, really beautiful. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make one of those pretty hats, maybe a Kobuk or something, and hold it with my fingering weight, and I might even hold it with this Fiber Nymph Dye Works, which is Sakura on her Bedazzled, which is her sparkly base, because I used this, I don't know if you remember my last podcast. If not, you can check it out. But I had knit 2 pairs of socks and used these for the heels. And then I also picked up one more of her self-striping in the face card colorways. And this colorway is part of her game series, and it was inspired by old, well not old, but just regular bicycle cards. Sorry, I have a bit of light coming in from behind me. But anyway, she does great self-striping yarn, so if you haven't tried Fiber Nymph Dyeworks yarn, you should. I have, let's see, I showed you that sweater, and this is a sweater that I was supposed to have started a long time ago. I had my yarn wound, I just had so many other things on the go I didn't. And I'm about to be staying, starting tonight actually. I'm staying with a friend of mine's dog, so I'll be at their house for the next 8 days. And their dog has some special needs, so I'll have to be there a lot, and I won't be coming back and forth to my home. So I have wound, this is Lolo did it in the May the 4th colorway with a Wonka for heels and toes. I've wound that. This is a Fiber Nymph Dyeworks in the Time to Make the Donuts in her bounce base, which if you have been to Dunkin' Donuts, you know that's the colors of their logo. I actually love that. Those are going to be for my husband because he's a super big Dunkin' Donuts fan, and I'm not. This is the May the 4th, and this is on the low original. Ooh. Let me show you the nice part of the cake. It's on the low original base, and this base is so soft. And the Wonka is also on the low original base, which this looks a little, I've got another mini of Wonka, and this looks a little more tonal on the Wonka, on the low original base, which I really like when yarns look tonal, so very excited. Oh, well, I dropped it, sorry. Very excited about that, but I did just rewind the string around it, so it did. I don't know why this looks so messy. Oh, because that was something unattached. That was the ties, okay. Anyway, so I wound up this yarn for a Timely cardigan at the beginning of the Timely cardigan knit along that Lauren from Lolo Did It was doing with Erica from Scrappy Thread. And so this is the Breakfast Club look. Hi. This is the Breakfast Club colorway, which I've had for a really long time. It's a different base than the blue. The blue is the original in the Blue Suede Shoes colorway. Anyway, you can see the flecks of Blue Suede Shoes in there. I love the tonality of this yarn. It really, really warms my soul. This looks like dark denim. There we go, that's better. Anyway, it's gorgeous. And I have a super old tag. This is Squishy Sock. So this one is 100% merino, superwash merino, which she doesn't carry anymore. And then I have another one, and it's on her old sparkle base. So this was her original sparkle base. So I'm going to mix those up in the stripes. And so the main color of the sweater is going to be the original blue. And I think that's going to be awesome. So I'm taking this with me to get started. I'm taking these 2 wound socks, which I know I won't be able to do everything, but you know, a girl can dream, right? Anyway, so I have all this ready. I want to, since my hair is a little shorter now and I've been wearing these plastic headbands, which I have a little bit of trouble with sometimes keeping on. They go off the top of my head. I think I'm going to try doing some knitted headbands and see how I like that. So I have to figure out, I might do a Hufflepuff one. Oh, or I should just go in my minis box here and grab some minis and do some in some colorways I've already partially used up. So if you have a headband recipe pattern. They're patterns, they're not recipes. If you have a headband pattern that you like, would you please let me know what it is? Because I would love to see it. The only other thing that I'm taking with me is this hat that I have shown before. This is the Hemispheres hat. It is a double knit hat, and it started, so I'll take it with me. It looks a little messy, but that's because I don't have very much done. This is some really awesome yarn I have that I'm doing this out of. I have Kim Dyes yarn, which is a local yarn dyer to me, and her cannoli worsted base in the Kermit colorway. And this is 100% superwash merino. And also the blue is really, really cool, and I just saw the tag and then lost it. It's right here. This blue is Southport Stonewash, hand dyed. It's northern yarn, so it's been grown by sheep out in the Lancastrian countryside in the UK. I got this in a swap from my friend Ruth Buchanan. She's Ruth Buchanan on Instagram. And I'm hoping to put some more rows on this hat. I cast on this hat thinking it would be a super quick project, and then I figured out I had to learn to double knit, so I'm learning to double knit. And I got this in a swap, this bag in a swap, and she then opened a shop, and I can't remember the name of it, so I'll link to it as well, because she's awesome and she makes beautiful project bags. Oh, and this is a Mrs. Brown's bag made out of Breakfast Club yarn by Lolo Did It. And then I've got a Simply Serving HK charm. I'm using it as a zipper pull right now, but I love having one of these as a zipper pull so that I can take it off and use it as a progress keeper when I need, especially on a stockinette sweater, because sometimes you feel like you're going nowhere, but you really are. And it helps me to see my progress. So yeah, I think I'll check back in with you next Friday, and we'll see what I've been able to get done in a week away from home. So I'll be in a different location, and watch for Instagram stories, because I might get lonely, okay? So I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're making time for yourself and giving yourself some lovely things to knit. And have a great rest of your week.